news! Bad! We're bankrupt! Oh, I borrowed money to invest in Bitcoin. Then the price crashed and I sold at a huge loss. We're ruined! Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were watching TV.
The tragic impact destroyed the planet Clark, along with its 50 billion inhabitants.
In other news, Morbo, guess what's back?
The planet Clark?
Nope, the price of Bitcoin.
What?
The virtual money is soaring once again, leading to a high-tech gold rush.
Prospectors are heading west, where cheap, filthy electricity beckons the desperate.
This gives me a desperate idea!
Oh yeah, the Bitcoin bonanza is in full swing on Simply Bitcoin, and we're about to unravel a tapestry of bullish news. You just saw cheap power fueling a futuristic gold rush in like the year 3000 that even Fry from Futurama had to envy. Now, Bitcoin is going mainstream. Hold on to your signing devices because billionaire Dave Rubenstein just joined the Bitcoin party, and he's bringing a level of extravagance that Bender himself would appreciate. And guess what? Cathie Wood's ETF enthusiasm is adding rocket fuel to this Bitcoin fire. We might just have a sneak peek at when the BlackRock and a plethora of spot Bitcoin ETFs could burst onto the scene. It's Sunday, the stakes are high, and the Bitcoin vibes are even higher. We got a lot of bullish news. Let's get it. Here we go to get us started, and quote, Bitcoin isn't going away. There's enormous interest around the world in being able to have something you can transfer without the government knowing about it and keeping it private. You can say that people shouldn't do that, but that's not going to stop them. David Rubenstein might be orange-pilled. Let's go check out this clip.
This is perfectly timed because Novogratz has been the piñata of Bitcoin when it goes down. It's been the genius of Bitcoin when it goes up. And all of a sudden, Larry showed up at the door to say, hey, big, respectable firms can prosecute and do Bitcoin. Link Lawrence Fink of BlackRock to Mike Novogratz.
Well, what's happened is people, as you suggest, make fun of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, but now the establishment, Larry Fink at BlackRock, is now saying they're going to have an ETF, if approved by the government, in Bitcoin. So you're saying, wait a second, if the mighty BlackRock is willing to have an ETF in Bitcoin, maybe Bitcoin's going to be around for a while.
Lisa wants to jump in here, but I'm going to cut to the news moment. Is Carlyle announcing this morning a Bitcoin advocacy?
No, I don't think so. But there's no doubt that Bitcoin is something that I wish I had bought it at $100 a Bitcoin when Mike Novogratz started buying it. It's now at $29,000. So he's made a lot of money. And a lot of people who bought it at the $100 or less are feeling pretty good. Now, it went up as high as $61,000, I think. Even down to $31,000 or even $29,000 now is still pretty good profit if you bought it at $100.
We all wish we would have bought it at 100 and to ride it up. It's one thing for BlackRock to come up with an ETF because they believe in the proposition of Bitcoin. It's another because they see a profitability proposition where they can, you know, basically take advantage of the interests that other people have. I mean, isn't that more of what this is? That basically Wall Street is saying if there is a market for it and we can viably make one for them and make some money, why not?
Well, remember, Wall Street is in business to make money, and this is something they can probably make money of. You have to remember, the United States government has been somewhat skeptical of it. I think Democrats in the Congress, and particularly the people regulating the SEC, are skeptical of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. But outside the United States, there's a lot of interest in it. I think FTX really hurt when it went bankrupt, and it hurt the crypto industry. But a lot of people around the world want to be able to trade in a currency that their government can't know what they have, and they want to be able to move it around, rightly or wrongly. And so I don't think Bitcoin is going away. I think the Republicans on Capitol Hill have been pretty supportive of it.
And also, guys, we're not just seeing Republicans. Bitcoin is going across the aisle. We've got multiple candidates. You've got former Democrat and Democrat candidate right now in RFK, Tulsi Gabbard. Then on the other side, Vivek, DeSantis. We've also had the progressive case for Bitcoin on Simply Bitcoin. So right and left, all that stuff is irrelevant. It's freedom versus the state. It's a separation of money and state. It's the thing that fixes all the problems that all of us are seeking to fix, whether you're on the right or on the left, and not a neocon. Larry Fink and BlackRock have started what I believe to be a chain reaction that is starting a bullish cycle that could be absolutely massive. And guys, that chain reaction started a month ago, and the momentum is really starting to pick up.
Jill McCory, thank you for watching. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, recently filed for a Bitcoin spot ETF, sparking others like Invesco, WisdomTree, and Bitwise to do the same. The move is a dramatic shift in sentiment, given that in 2018, CEO Larry Fink said that crypto was essentially just an index for how much money laundering is being done in the world. Now, BlackRock has over $9 trillion of assets under management, and Bitcoin has rallied on the news, breaking past 30,000. But will the SEC, which has so far rejected over 30 spot Bitcoin ETFs, actually approve this one? And if it does, what can we expect from the Bitcoin market?
If it does, what can we expect? And that's where we're going to get into this, because there are some very bullish takes on some believing that this could take Bitcoin to 773,000, but we're going to get into that and the math behind it. Though ARK got delayed, it's still looking very positive for the Bitcoin spot ETF, as Nate Garachi, who is a president of the ETF store, an advisory firm that specializes in ETFs, believes 100% that the SEC will approve the spot Bitcoin ETF. Then we have this, a possible leak maybe, but BlackRock insiders predict when and not if on the approval for a Bitcoin ETF. Likely in the coming months, says Galaxy's CEO Mike. No regrets, okay? So take that with a grain of salt. But big deal, it's a big deal because both our contracts from the Invesco side and the BlackRock side get you to think that this is a question of when, not if, that the outside window, this is probably 6 months, and so you're kind of 4 to 6 months if you had to put a pin on the tail on the donkey on it. 4 to 6 months, that'd be right before the Bitcoin halving. And then, like I said, that chain reaction, and then, BlackRock got in, and then a list of a ton of other big players filed for a spot ETF. More bullish news because ARK Invest CEO Cathie Wood says multiple spot Bitcoin ETFs are likely to receive approval at once. Let's check it out.
So you are in this race. Let's talk about the race a little bit. The first important deadline coming up is August 13th, where the ARK filing, the SEC is either going to delay it, which we think they'll probably delay it, and then BlackRock is later. You filed before BlackRock, but BlackRock came in with the surveillance sharing agreement with Coinbase. That was novel, right? Now we're looking in the future, there's talk of a common clock where the SEC could approve a bunch of ETFs at once, putting you on a level playing field with BlackRock and others. What's your take on how this will play out, given you filed earlier?
I think you're probably right that August 13th will come and go, and I think the SEC, if it's going to approve a Bitcoin ETF, will approve more than one at once. So then, again, because most of these essentially will be the same, and it will come down to marketing, communicating the message. We've been putting out our Bitcoin monthly for the last year. We are now starting a Bitcoin brainstorming session. Our first one we launched last Thursday. So we're trying to get the word out there that our research is deep. And we've been doing it since 2015 when we gained our first exposure to GBTC. We were the first public asset manager to gain exposure to Bitcoin at all in 2015.
So yeah, Cathie Wood's been beating the Bitcoin drum for a long time. Major Bitcoin bull. Now let's take a look at what it might look like if these spot ETFs get approved. And let's look at some numbers, because this prediction is just super bullish, as they're predicting Bitcoin to hit 773K. But how and why? Now it comes from Invest Answers, so take that with a grain of salt. But I like here on how they included the math. So if BlackRock were to place 0.5% of its assets under Bitcoin management, Bitcoin's market cap would be affected by an increase of 1.05 trillion, and this would add 75K to Bitcoin's price, which is in the 23K band, which will make its way to about 98K, a 326% move from today's price that is actually kind of achievable when you break it down like that. And then we have this: if BlackRock were to allocate 1% stake, which of course would take time, that would add about $2 trillion market cap, and that would lead to a 150K Bitcoin price, pushing Bitcoin's future price to 173K, a profit of 652%. That is massive. Now, here we go. Dan Tapiero, macro analyst, big-time gold bug, Bitcoin supporter. Wish he wouldn't do the shitcoin stuff, but as an analyst, Tapiero said that they add 5%, which is very aggressive, but maybe in time, maybe in 3 to 5 years, it's possible, and this would quite easily push the price of Bitcoin to 773K in the next 3 to 5 years. But yeah, guys, major bullish news, but sometimes it's good not to get in over your skis. And Terrence Yang from Swan was recently on Bloomberg, and no one better to rein us in or be more realistic and pragmatic rather than going full bulltard like me and Opti tend to go. But let's go ahead and check out Terrence Yang here and see what his takes are on the spot Bitcoin ETFs.
Let's bring in Swan Bitcoin Managing Director Terrence Yang to talk a little bit more about that and all things crypto. Terrence, great to have you on the program. Thanks so much for joining us. What do you think about the possibility of the SEC kind of folding, I guess, and allowing a spot Bitcoin ETF?
Great to see you again, Matt. I'm not sure I would characterize it as the SEC folding so much as there are things happening now in the world where wash trading is being dealt with by the authorities. So if you look at what China is doing with respect to Hobby and with respect to what the BlackRock, Invesco, Fidelity, and many others are doing using Coinbase as a pricing source for the surveillance sharing agreements, I think that they're helping. They're at a point where crypto is getting cleaned up. So the price manipulation and wash trading that has been allegedly been happening to a rather wide extent in Bitcoin is subsiding. The professionals are coming in. I'm super bullish on Bitcoin long term as soon as these are approved, but I'm not sure I'm as optimistic as Cathie or some of the others. Like you guys had an article on BlackRock and Invesco insiders talking about US spot Bitcoin ETFs being approved within 4 to 6 months. I think it might take longer.
So again, as usual, in the long term, Bitcoin super bullish, and a lot of signs are pointing to an epic bull run with the spot ETFs coming 4 to 6 months, maybe even a little later. But right around the Bitcoin halving in April, let's get ready, boys and girls, because it is gonna be lit. And going back to the article, let's take a look at what Dan Tapiero had posted here. The chart that got BlackRock excited about partnership with Coinbase, no bigger macro opportunity for BlackRock than acting to facilitate Bitcoin adoption. And like he said, a 5% shift in BlackRock assets is $500 billion, greater than Bitcoin's value today, and it could be a catalyst for the path of Bitcoin to go to 250K post the Bitcoin halving. And it looks like things are becoming more and more clear, and we can take a look at these technologies and their adoption curves, and Bitcoin's just straight vertical. But again, guys, one friendly reminder, don't shitcoin, it's bad for you. And though this is bullish for Bitcoin, to enjoy all the benefits of Bitcoin, you have to take self-custody. Don't rely on Larry Fink and BlackRock to hold your Bitcoin for you and not re-hypothecate it. I don't care who their surveillance sharing agreement is with. Take self-custody and do Bitcoin the right way. Because otherwise, it's not good for shitcoiners.
We want to be transparent. We want to set the golden standard for reliability, solidness in the space.
So do it. Would you be able to handle it if somebody asked you for $2.1 billion back? Would that be okay? Would you be able to still withstand things?
We're financially okay.
Including you have $2.1 billion to give away. If somebody came to claw that back, you'd still be fine?
We'll let the lawyers handle it. We are financially strong.
The equities market. And so what Brian Armstrong somehow did, to his own fault, and that's why I'm calling him out, is he tried to replicate the equities market. He found his business advantage as I'm a first mover. I was here first. I have the most licenses. And sure, Jack, you can sell Bitcoin, but I sell Algorand coin and Pink coin and Left Sock coin and barbecue chicken coin. And so you can never compete with me because I've built this regulatory moat and this first mover advantage. And what he's done is he's built a proxy long positions on altcoins, which make no sense, right? And he's replicated the equities market.
So Binance.us has no Bitcoin. As soon as it's deposited to Binance.us, it's sent to Binance International, where it's completely out of the hands of US regulators.
It's very interesting that Binance knew exactly which strings to pull in the FTX collapse. It's almost like they have intimate knowledge of the workings of the company because they're probably doing it themselves. So funds not SAFU.
Coinbase seems to be a potential target, especially since CEO Brian Armstrong was one of the first to report on the staking crackdown. All centralized protocols will be labeled unregistered securities.
So I'm not saying like CZ has an agenda or is bad or whatever. I'm just saying like there's obviously periods where their proof of reserve wallets have changed. They've switched them up. They've commingled corporate funds and recovery funds. And customer funds, and then admitted to it. And I raised that up, and people were like, FUD. And I'm like, guys, like,
buy Bitcoin, earn Bitcoin, mine Bitcoin, take that Bitcoin into self-custody and forget about it. As a Bitcoiner, you will be watching from the sidelines with your popcorn saying, I can get cheaper Bitcoin now because of this disaster that they caused.
Crypto giant Binance moved $400 million from U.S. partner to firm managed by CZ himself. This sounds a lot like the insider movements from FTX to Alameda. On one occasion, Binance only had $100 million in stored collateral to support $1.7 billion in Binance-pegged USDC.
We're financially okay. People can withdraw 100% of the assets they have on Binance. We will not have an issue in any given day. So 100% of the users withdraw 100% of the assets, we'll be fine.
Binance halts deposits and withdrawals for customers in the UK after its local banking partner stopped providing support for transactions in British pounds. Breaking news, Bloomberg, Coinbase gets SEC notice signaling intent to sue over crypto offerings.
You guys do not use Coinbase, delete Coinbase. They base their business model on a faulty. Yeah, exactly. Literally better than I could have said it.
Over here on Twitter, we've got Wolf, who's talking about the Binance is being sued by the CTFC USA for basically having secret in-house trading desk with 300 accounts.
Today, the SEC sues another major crypto exchange, this time Coinbase. Crypto markets whipsaw following the SEC's latest enforcement actions.
It's not great to have a regulator sort of come back later and say, actually, we changed our mind. Well, this is already
Brian,
a
they didn't
company.
change their mind. We had John Stark, the former SEC Office of Internet Enforcement Chief for 11 years. He was on earlier. He said it's very specific that in the IPO, the SEC does not approve these things. And it says very specifically they could come back and say that there is additional regulation that's required, or additional disclosures, or additional filings. And I think what they're very specific about is you call yourself an exchange, you call yourself a broker-dealer when it comes to prime. Those are things that you need to register for if you're going to be either an exchange or a broker-dealer, just like the NASDAQ or the NYSE would have to.
Your move, because I think you fucked up. I think you recreated an equities brokerage and you didn't learn anything from the past, and you didn't take the time to understand Bitcoin. And the same brand that Mark Zuckerberg has that's so tarnished, now you have. Bitcoin core developers hate you. Bitcoiners hate you. You have to act against the best interest of those that very built this industry by listing shit coins and going against everything that we always say and all the forks that we're going to break this industry. You have to support, because the fundamental flaw in which you built your business on, and you fucked up. And it's been long enough, and I'm sick of it. And I finally got old enough and in my mid to late 20s to build my own company and call your bluff. Maybe Brian Armstrong thought he had 3 to 5 years to figure this out. Well, guess what, dude? You got 3 to 5 weeks and you're fucked.
You were warned, shitcoiners. And, we had Futurama in the intro. Why don't we go back to an old clip of Family Guy involving Bitcoin? Here we go.
All right, everyone, it's time to open up our bank statements. Let's gather round for prayer.
Hey, God, it's the Griffins. Again, we're very sorry we cyberbullied that girl to death, but we still want a snowmobile. Today, though, please let there be money in our bank account. Amen.
Amen. Damn it, it didn't work. We're still poor. Peter, every month our savings get smaller and smaller. We really gotta figure out a better way to budget for this family's future.
Bitcoin.
What?
I don't know.
This is serious. We need to think about our kids' education. Of course, it's already too late for Meg to go to college, and Chris is too dumb to get in anywhere.
Yay! No, Chris, not yay.
Yep, and I hate to break it to you right here. If you had invested $100 in Bitcoin when Peter Griffin said Bitcoin for the first time, you'd have 6,637 cuckbucks, a total profit of 6,537%. Okay, guys, so I thought I would show you this chart, and this is BlackRock's allocation impact on Bitcoin price. So if they took share of assets under management allocated to Bitcoin, put 0.5%, the impact on Bitcoin's price could be 75K, with a future price of Bitcoin at 98K, a return of 326%. And then over here, maybe I'm blocking it, but 1%, the impact on price per Bitcoin, 150K, future price of Bitcoin, 173K, and then 500 billion, a 5% allocation of assets under management would lead to a price of 750K, a potential future price of 773K, and that is a return on investment of 3,260%. And that's gonna bring me to this point. Not owning Bitcoin is dangerous. When someone doesn't own Bitcoin, literally, what the f, guys? Come on. It's 10th grade math. We got trillions of dollars in assets under management filing for spot ETFs, and the halving is nigh. I don't know, guys, but the macro developments along with Bitcoin becoming a part of mainstream culture, and then we pair that with billions or even trillions possibly coming into Bitcoin with an ETF approval, possibly in 4 to 6 months, maybe a little longer, maybe a little sooner. But it is setting the stage for an epic bull run right into the Bitcoin halving in April. And if you're not stacking, you're slacking. You want some more bullish takes? Check out these clips from me and Dell, and be sure to share the Sound Money Gospel and keep tuning in to Simply Bitcoin every day, and follow our Simply Bitcoin Unfiltered for the Simply Signal in its written form. Follow us on Twitter for the latest news, and we will be your guide through the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. Have a great week, guys. I'll see you soon. Peace.